As I indicated, I'm not a smoke diver. In fact, I always preface any of these talks to firefighters with telling you that I am not now, nor have ever been a firefighter. And frankly, I don't want to be a firefighter because I know what you do for a living, and I don't want to do it. I'm really glad that you want to, but God bless you, I don't want to do it myself. In terms of my knowledge of what you do, I've been in a lot of training. Spent a lot of time in 1403 burns and burn towers, things like that. So a lot of training scenarios. Felt some situations, but never been in an actual working. Been to a lot of them. I continue to be at fires on a regular basis now, riding out with local fire departments, primarily with Indianapolis Fire Department. So in actuality, I guess you would consider me an informed civilian. Okay, I am never going to talk to you about how to do forcible entry or how to put water on a fire or how to VES a window. That's not, I don't talk about fire tactics, okay, and the things that you do. My area of specialty, my area of interest, my area of research is firefighter health and safety. My job is to help you by giving you information and helping educate you with respect to areas that will help keep you alive. Not only during your career, but hopefully into your retirement, okay? So, what we're going to talk about today are these two things, heat stress and water balance, okay? You get harped at a lot with respect to hydration, keeping yourself hydrated, all those kind of things. What we're going to do today is talk about why and what that water does in your system, how you go about hydrating yourself, what you drink, what you shouldn't drink, all those kind of questions that everybody always has about hydration, okay? But again, what I want you to do here is I'm going to throw up some slides, and we're going to use that kind of an overview of a discussion, and I'd like for you guys to participate as much as you can. This is just kind of an overview of the topics that we're going to talk about. And when we talk about how your body deals with heat, how your body deals with hydration, dehydration, and the process of rehydration, we're going to talk about some generalities for you as a human being. And I call most people who are not firefighters normal people. But then we're going to talk about some very special cases that you as firefighters have to deal with that the population doesn't. And these things put you at particular risk for suffering heat injury. Okay? And heat injury is a pathology, a disease, or a sickness, if you will, that is a result of unmitigated heat stress. In other words, your body doesn't compensate or doesn't compensate enough for the heat stress, and it puts yourself in jeopardy. I will tell you right now, the greatest threat to your life over the next 5 or 6 days is not going to be driving around 465. It's going to be the heat stress that you endure in this class. They're going to pound you with heat stress. They're going to wear your ass out. They're going to dehydrate you. They're going to fatigue you emotionally, mentally, and every way they can see fit to do so, right to the verge of causing you injury. And then they're going to make you make decisions and execute fire tactics in those conditions. That's the point of this class, is to make sure that you understand how and are able to execute what you need to execute under the absolute most trying conditions that you could experience in the service. Okay? So, let's talk a little bit. Some definitions. We said what heat stress was. This may seem very simplistic, but I want you to know if you ask people what hydration is, you get 100 different answers. Dehydration, same thing. Okay? The process of hydration is simply increasing inner and extracellular water volume of the body. It doesn't mean drinking. Okay? The process of hydration involves 2 steps. One is ingestion or drinking. The other is absorption. Okay? You have to think of your body as a hollow tube. You can dump whatever you want to down this gullet. Okay? You can drink that in the next 15 minutes. Does that mean you're hydrating yourself? No. That means you're intaking a lot of fluid. Probably, if you took that down in 15 minutes, at the 20-minute mark, you'd run up and go to the piss. Okay? Because your body has a limited ability to absorb fluids. Okay? And you can always sweat out and get rid of fluids faster than you can replenish them. Okay? So, we know that it's going to be fairly warm later in this week. I mean, they run these classes in the fall and the spring to avoid the heat, the major part of the heat of the year, but it's still going to be hot. Those ambient temperatures that you have to be exposed to can be life-threatening. Now, here's one of the things I want you to keep in mind. You guys, I hear, are the absolute best of the fire service. That's why you're here. Okay? You're the best and you want to get better. And I applaud you for that. But don't be mistaken. It doesn't make any difference who you are, how tough you are, how physically fit you are, okay? How long you've been fighting fires, whether you come from North Dakota or you come from Phoenix, Arizona. You can suffer heat injury and die this week if you don't do what you're supposed to do. Okay? So please, listen to your instructors and heed what we're going to tell you. Because this week's work and the state that they put you in is intentionally, okay? They're going to intentionally dehydrate you and stress you physically and emotionally more so than you would be on the job normally. And they do that for a reason, okay? They want it to be the situation where you will experience as much physical and emotional stress here as you could possibly experience on the job, and then they're going to teach you how to deal with that stress and get your job done in a safe manner. Okay? That's what this is about. It will be up to you to make sure that you protect yourself from the heat stress. Okay? Now, let's talk about heat stress for a minute. Human beings are homeothermic. Okay? That don't mean you're a bunch of hot gay guys. That means that you try to maintain your core body temperature in a very narrow range. Okay? We're not reptiles like snakes or alligators, okay, whose body temperature actually fluctuates with the environment they live in. Okay? We try to maintain our body temperature within a very narrow range, and it's just a few degrees. Okay? If your body temperature gets above 41 degrees Celsius, which is getting up there 104, 105 degrees Fahrenheit, you basically start to melt proteins in your tissue, which means you start to melt your brain and your organs, and you die, okay? And it doesn't take long to get there. So we have evolved, if you will, a very elaborate way and a very elaborate scheme with which to cool ourselves when it's really hot outside, or to warm ourselves as it's really cold outside. Okay? We're going to deal with the heat stress this week. Okay. If I ask you, not just pick on somebody, let me ask you, what's your name, son?
Doug.
Doug? If you could describe for me the environment that you work in on a fire, what would you tell me? Okay. What about the heat stress environment? When you go in that building that's burning. There's a lot of heat in there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What kind of heat are you exposed to?
Everything that's in my gear.
Exactly. I don't give a shit about what's going on inside that building. The environment that you as a person are exposed to, then you got to deal with in terms of heat stress, is that environment inside your turnout gear. Okay? That's the environment you're exposed to. And the idea is how hot those temperatures get. Even a guess. Now, we all know that we get a strap in the wrong place, or get somebody pushing on you or something. You can get some of these conductive burns where heat's conducted directly to your skin through contact, and there are points where it's really hot. But if we just put a thermometer or two inside your turnout gear, what are those temperatures generally like inside that gear? Any idea? I've measured these things, and it can be that way. You can do, we've measured this several times, not only in training scenarios, but in real fire situations. If you're in there long enough, you'll see temperatures in the neighborhood of 120 degrees inside your turnout gear, and 100% humidity, okay? Really nasty temperatures to work in. So if you came outside and you were just out messing around in your yard or something, and it was 120 degrees outside and 100% humidity, that's a pretty tough environment to work in. I got news for you. I don't cut my grass when it's like that. Okay? So I want you to be aware that when we talk about the heat stress, we're talking about what's going on inside your, okay? We'll let the water and your tactics deal with the fire outside your turnout gear, okay? So let's talk a little bit about what the environment, or what the sources of these stresses are. And when we say environment, we're talking about inside your turnout gear. Where's the heat that's coming from that is inside that turnout gear? Your body metabolism. Our body metabolism is only what we consider about 25% efficient. And what that means from a physiology standpoint is that all of the energy that is consumed to do work, to do muscular work, only about 25% of it gets converted into mechanical energy, force production. The other 75% of it is given off as heat. So when we talk about calories and burning calories and things like that, when we say if you're doing 1,000 calories worth of muscular work, 250 calories are probably going to doing the actual work, mechanical work. The other 750 calories are being given off as heat. Now that's generally a good thing for us, because we want to keep, we want to maintain those body temperatures in a safe range to protect our brains and our vital organs. But that can very quickly accumulate, and we can get too hot. And so we need to find a way to shed that heat. And that's what our cardiovascular system is basically for, or one of its reasons. We mentioned environment inside the turnout gear. Some of that environment is actually heat that's being transmitted from that fire outside. Okay? We think of your turnout gear as a barrier, a heat barrier, a moisture barrier, but it's not perfect. If you go in there and you have enough air and you stand in that fire long enough, the temperature inside your gear will be the same as outside the gear. And that's probably not a good thing, okay? Because it does slowly leak that heat into your gear, but it's not the major portion of the heat that you're going to experience. Another thing that causes us to accumulate heat or to experience heat stress is if our mechanism that we have in place to get rid of the heat, to get rid of excess heat, is impaired, okay, or is ineffective in some way. So these are the three things that cause us to accumulate heat stress. And when we talk about heat stress, we're talking about heat in excess of what our body needs to function. Okay, excess heat. We need to shed that heat. We cannot let it accumulate because it will hurt us. Eventually it'll kill us.